Hello there, and welcome back for another video. In this one, I want to start with this piece. This is piece number 12 from your Memory Pieces kit. And this is the rules for adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers. If you should ever have to do those without a calculator, this is really not part of the course workbook, but I want to give you these just the same because when we get into solving equations, we will have to do this. So I've written up the rules for you rather than have you write all these down with me. I just went ahead and printed it. And let's take a look at, I'm going to give you some examples of each of the rules, but I want to take a look at each of the rules one at a time. So I want to start with the addition set, and that is this top section. And you notice that addition, the rules change when the signs are the same and when they're different. So that's the first thing you're going to have to figure out to determine when you're adding and subtracting signed numbers. So let me show you a few examples of the addition rule. I'll show you one example of each of these. So your addition rules, there are two of them. And to start us off, let's take like signs. So I'm going to say positive 6 plus positive 5. Now, you won't see the positive signs usually. If the number does not have a sign, it is automatically positive, and you rarely will see the positive signs. But since I'm showing you the rules, I want to show you what to do here. So think about it this way. I always tell students, adult students, to think about playing poker. If you win $6 and you win $5 more, you have won a total of $11. And I'm using parentheses just to separate my signs out. That's all that means. But look at what the rule says. If you're adding like signs, you will add the numbers and keep the same sign. So the same is going to be true for a negative 6 and a negative 5. Again, using the poker analogy, think of losing $6 and then losing $5. You have lost a total of $11. If you have different signs, so let's suppose that I am taking a positive 6 and I'm adding a negative 5 to that. So I've won 6 and I've lost 5. That leaves me with a net gain of 1. 1 to the good. If you have a negative 6 and a positive 5, so I've lost 6, I've gained 5, that leaves me at negative 1. So if you're adding different signs, you subtract your numbers and keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, if you are subtracting positive and negative numbers. So let me highlight this section. Again, you do have to be mindful of the rules about the signs, but there's something else with subtraction that you have to remember to do. And I've written the steps for you right here. So let me show you some examples of this one. Let's take a negative 6, subtract a negative 5. So this is the subtraction rule. And here's what you must do. You change the subtraction sign to addition. You change the sign of the subtrahend, that's the second number. So that becomes a plus 5. You never change your leader. You just change this sign and this sign. And then you're back to your addition rules. So I lost 6, I won 5. That's a difference of negative 1. You see why I really prefer to do these on the calculator. I can tell you that if you do them for as long as I have, years and years and years, they do get easier. But this is still something that can be very tricky. So you want to be careful with these if you're not doing the calculator. And I'm going to show you how to do it on the calculator in just a second. Okay, multiplying and dividing, you have the same rule. It's just the operation is a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these together because the rules are the same for multiplying and dividing. And to me, these are much easier than the add and subtract rules. When I was learning these, I remember struggling with them terribly because I just couldn't remember all those rules. I am proof positive, though, that you can. I finally learned them, and I can do them now. So my advice is to just keep trying. But I understand that this is not the easiest thing in the world. So with multiplying and dividing, if the signs are the same, and this means multiply, this is different than adding because those parentheses are pressed up together. So positive 6 times positive 5, the signs are the same, the answer is positive. A negative 6 times a negative 5, the signs are the same, so the answer is positive. It's when you have one of each, a positive and a negative, that you will get a negative answer. And you could also have a positive 6 and a negative 5. Again, the signs are different, so the answer is negative. Same is going to be true with division. If you have the same sign, the answer is positive. If you have different signs, the answer will be negative. And with multiplying and dividing, those are the rules that you have to remember. They're the same regardless of multiplying or dividing. Okay, just in case you should ever need to know that, those are the rules for integer operations. Let me give you some calculator keystrokes, and then we'll move on to the next part of our lesson. I do want to remind you that there is a calculator tutorial available at the beginning of these courses. So if you want a more in-depth calculator study, please refer to those. It's in Schoology. It's that first folder. This is calculator tutorial. But I'm going to show you how to do 3 skills here. One of them we've already touched on, but I want to do it again because it's that important. So let me draw a calculator button, and I'll just make a copy of that, I hope, and paste it. Yes, it's working. Guys, I think I'm getting the hiccups of all times. I hope not. But if all of a sudden I hiccup, I apologize beforehand. I had some of that grape juice that's fizzy. I love that stuff, but it gives me hiccups sometimes. Okay, here's the first problem that I want to work, and I'm not sure I'm going to need all of those boxes, but we'll see. I want to do 5 to a power. This is the exponent function. And we've looked at this before, but let's just review how to do this on the Casio. So first thing is going to be all clear, and then you're going to say 5. The exponent key is above the C, above the clear. You put your exponent in and then press your equals key. And you should get 125 for this one. Okay. To do a square root on your calculator, so if you want to take the square root of, let's say, 100, this is not as important right now, but it's going to be down the line. And again, I think I've got too many boxes, but let's see. So you would press all clear. put in the 100, press your shift key. That is the very first key on your calculator that has no writing on it. It's just a blank key. And then on that top row, there's an x squared key. It's actually above that x squared key that we're looking for, that square root sign. And get in the habit of pressing equals. You should get a 10 on this one. And then one more, I want to show you how to take a cube root, and we'll just use that 125. I want the cube root of 125. So let's put this one in. I've got one too many buttons, I do believe. So all clear. Put in your 125. Press the shift key. And then that plus minus key, the positive negative key. And equals. And you should get a 5 on this one. Because 5 to the third power is 125. So the cube root of 125 is 5. And there's actually one other thing I want to show you here while I'm thinking about it. Let me show you how to put the positive negative signs in your calculator. So let's say that we want to multiply -6 times 5. And I can already tell you that's a -30. Because the signs are not the same, the answer will be negative. But let's put it through the calculator and just see how that works. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is all clear. And then you're putting in your 6, and you want to make that 6 a -6. So you press the plus minus key. It is changing the plus to a minus. The only time you touch that key for negative is when you want a negative sign. We're multiplying. 5 is already positive. You don't have to do anything to it. Press equal and your calculator will give you a -30. So there are some different keys here that we don't use a lot, and that's why I wanted to take the time to show you those. I encourage you to practice these quite a bit. Rewind your video to this point and practice these often. If you don't have a calculator, practice on that picture of a calculator that I gave you in your kit, just so that you are familiar with where these buttons are before you take a HiSET exam. Okay, I do believe that's everything I needed to show you on here. So I will see you very soon in the next video. I believe we start learning how to solve equations. So I'll see you soon, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.